Today I'm going to share with you my 6 interview hacks to help you prepare like a pro. This is going to apply whether you're interviewing for a job, whether you're trying to interview someone and propose that you get promoted, that you own a project. We quote unquote interview for so many different areas in our career. So if you're not actually interviewing for a new job, I still want you to listen. These 6 hacks are going to apply to you while you're trying to have a two-way conversation to see if moving forward in whatever capacity is a good fit. I think of interviewing like dating. The more you know and like yourself, and the more you're honest and true to that, the better success you're going to have. We don't want to trick someone into a relationship and be like, surprise, I'm not the person you thought I was. That never works. It's the same thing in an interview process. We don't want either side to trick the other one into thinking this is something that it's not. Okay. Now listen, if you are not in my career confidence circle this month, you need to come. This podcast is published in October of 2025. Every month in the Confident Career Circle, we do a different challenge to help you create the career you want. And this month, it's so important. If you are interviewing, the challenge this month is around creating your career story on purpose. So if you think about your career big picture, where you're at, where you're trying to go, if you had to give it a title, like if it was a movie or a book, what's the title of your career? For so many of us, it's things like, I'm behind. I'm not where I should be. This isn't how I thought it was going to be. Or it's a title like overwhelmed, underpaid, and nowhere to go. Okay, so we're walking you through the steps on how do you change that story. Again, we're not going to sell it. We're not going to be sleazy. We're not going to lie. We're not going down that avenue. But there is also another story that's true. It might be things like growing through the messy middle, or this is what I do. Watch me. Okay. The story you're telling yourself about your career is really going to play an important part on the career you have, especially during the interview process. So go to lindsaylymancoaching.com/join, click the link in the show notes. You can come, you can try it for 7 days, totally free, no obligation. Come, get the challenge, walk away if you want. I'm here to help you however you can, but you've got to learn how do you create a specific narrative about your career so that you can have open, honest conversations. You can like who you are, you can know who you are, and be honest and true. It's going to set you up for success. Let's jump into the 6 interview hacks. Number 1, go into this interview with curiosity. That is like the breakfast we want to have, the coffee we want to drink before we go into this interview. We don't want to be emotionally high. We don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. We don't want to be so excited, so hopeful, so convinced this is the one, because when emotion is high, intelligence is low. And that is putting a lot of pressure on things. If pressure is the breakfast we ate as we go into this conversation, it's going to get weird, and it's going to come through in your subtleties, in the tone of voice, in the examples you give, in your ability to think clearly, in your ability to stay in the conversation and see some red flags and not ignore them. If you're on this high, convinced this is it, this is amazing, I have to land this is going to be wonderful, you're going to miss a key part of the conversation where you can rationally make decisions and rationally show up as the amazing human that you are. Okay, so hack number 1, you got to go into it with curiosity. It's thinking things like, I wonder if this could be a good next fit. It's thinking things like, there's no such thing as a perfect job. I'm curious what things I would like and not like about this opportunity. Or going into it curious, thinking things like, this doesn't have to be my next forever job. Approaching your interview with curiosity also means that you're not over preparing and not sleeping and over rehearsing. You're going to rest. You're going to play. You're going to take a break. You're going to come into it in a calm emotional state. Okay, so if you're interviewing, hack number 1, and maybe the most important because the rest are challenging if you're not coming at this with curiosity, is go into it with curiosity. Hack number 2, I've talked a lot about this before, but you need to be specific on who you are, what you're good at, and who you're not. what you're not good at. When you're everything to everyone, you're nothing to no one. This is my taco truck mental model. If I came to you and said, hey, let's go to lunch, I want tacos, and you said, ooh, let's go to the Cheesecake Factory, they have tacos, I'm going to judge you. They do have tacos and they're not great. The Cheesecake Factory has 360 different menu items from one kitchen. I want tacos. I want to go to the taco truck where they make their salsa fresh and they know what they're doing. And there's only 4 options because they specialize in tacos. You need to know what your taco truck messaging is. Why you? Guess what? Not everyone wants or likes tacos. That's okay. But if a company is out there looking for tacos, you want to be the tacos. You don't want to be the Cheesecake Factory. But this is what we do. We try to be everything to everyone. We go in and have these conversations and we're like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Most people can do a lot of different things. Great. Why you? What are your tacos? Here's an example. You might be the person that brings team trust and helps teams that aren't functioning efficiently work together more efficiently. You might be the AI integration guru who brings people along while we're integrating AI and efficiencies into processes. You might be the person that's like the glue between all the teams and understands enough of what everyone's doing that you keep the whole ship moving forward in the right direction. You might be the person that's able to find the story and the root cause data in all of the data. You're not just the data analyst, right? You know how to find and tell the stories and bridge it back to the business. Taco truck, you want to be specific. If you're everything to everyone, you're nothing to no one, okay? So hack number 1, go into it being curious. Hack number 2, be specific on who you are and what you're good at. Number 3, quick interruption. If you're listening to this thinking, I'll figure this out later, that's exactly why you're still stuck. You've been telling yourself after this project or once things calm down for how long now? 6 months, a year, 2? Every week you wait is another week watching less qualified people get promoted and move on while you stay exhausted and undervalued. The brutal truth? Nothing changes if nothing changes, and no one is coming to save you. It's your job to make the change. My coaching program gives you the exact tools to break this cycle in weeks, not years. You can even try it out for free. The link is in the description below. Because if you don't take action now, when will you? Next year when you're even more burned out? Or when you're in a bad spot and have to find a new job? I hope not. You deserve better. Now back to the podcast. Be very clear and know what you want. Be open and curious as to how, but you got to be specific and know what you want. Going back to the dating analogy, you got to know, are you in this for casual dating, for a hookup? Are you looking to get married? You need to know what you want. It's the same thing with your job. Are you looking to manage an entire org? Are you looking to own projects end to end from ideation to delivery? Are you looking to drive top KPI improvements? Are you looking for a fast-paced environment that's safe to fail? Are you looking for an environment where you're not the smartest person in the room? Are you looking for a company that has a very supportive environment and has fun and has a healthy work-life balance? You got to know what you want. Okay? Again, we're going at this with curiosity. We know what we want. We know what we're good at. We're just curious, could this be the right one? If we're not curious, we're going to put all of our eggs in one basket and be like, oh my gosh, this is the one. It ticks all of the boxes except for there's all these red flags, but I'm just going to pretend it's fine. We're going to get into a rough situation. Okay. Hack number 4, ask better questions. Oh my gosh, for the love, ask better questions. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people in my corporate career. Do not ask the dumb, obvious questions. Okay. How do you ask a better question? Here's what I suggest. Write down the questions you have. What does success look like for someone in this position? What's keeping you up at night, right? Write down all of those questions that automatically come to your brain that you want to ask in the interview, okay? Then I want you to go and answer it. 60%. If you feel confident that 60% of your answer is right, I want you to think of what's the follow-up question you would have. Again, if you can answer that with 60% accuracy, keep going until you can't. Okay? And then, just like most people that interview you are going to ask situational questions of tell me a time when, do the same back to them. But here's the kicker. Most of us can come up pretty easily with the first answer, the second, and really the third is what's hard. So ask for a specific example that relates back to your question, then ask for another, then ask for one more. Okay? Let me give you an example of what this might look like. If I was interviewing and I'm trying to figure out, is this a safe environment to fail? I'm not going to ask them, how does your team handle failures, right? They're going to give me some BS answer and tell me what I want to hear, when in reality, that may not be the situation. So I might ask them to tell me about a time your team moved too fast and made a mistake. I might ask a few follow-up questions like, how was the mistake identified? How did you integrate this learning into the system? What was the conversation with the team? How did you explain this mistake up to your leadership, and how did you explain it down to your team? And then I'm going to ask them, do they have another example? And then I'm going to ask for another example. And if they struggle to come up with 3 examples, this is telling me a lot of good information that I want to have. It's either telling me the team doesn't feel safe sharing their failures, so they hide them from this leader, or they move too slow and have a very low failure tolerance. Now, if that's the environment you're looking for, awesome. We want that information. It's good to know. Okay, so we're going to, hack number 1, go into it with curiosity. 2, know your taco truck messaging. 3, know specifically what you want. 4, ask better questions. And 5 is, as you're asking those better questions, and as you're answering questions, don't put so much weight into the actual answers, but look for patterns and mental models. Okay? So this goes both ways as you're answering things and as you're listening to their answers in response. Because we know what to say. The hiring manager knows most likely what to tell you, what you want to hear. And that's not always the truth. What we're looking for is patterns and mental models. Do the patterns align with what you want? And do the mental models align with the leadership style that you work best in? Remember, we got to know ourselves. We got to like ourselves and be genuine and authentic as we go through this process. So let me give you an example of what this might look like. Maybe the person interviewing you asked, tell me about a time when your team was going to miss a goal and you needed to communicate that across the company. What did you do? And tell me what happened. Okay. Now, if this was me, I might give high-level specific situation of what happened, right? We were asked to do this. This is where we were. At this point, it became clear we were going to miss the goal and we had identified it in this place. Okay. So I kind of want to set the stage, set the scene. Remember, my actual answer doesn't matter. I'm trying to help them see patterns in my work and to show them my mental models to see if they align with their and the company's mental models. So I'm going to set the scene, and then I'm going to say, what I'm really good at is building trust with teams in high stake, high pressure scenarios where we struggle to trust each other. I believe trust happens when you have 3 elements: transparency, consistency, and empathy. So in that scenario, I focused on being transparent by doing A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And I showed up consistently with that same messaging across all teams, all levels in these different ways, right? I'm giving examples. I'm teaching them my mental model and my examples framed around that, but I'm also showing them and bringing to life my taco truck message of I bring trust and psychological safety in high pressure environments. Okay. Here's another example. Maybe they're going to ask you a question around like, why should I hire you? Or why do you want this job? Right? Pretty typical question that they ask. Again, I think they could ask a better question, but that's on them. This is where you want to go back to those previous hacks. You want to be specific. Basically, tell them your taco truck message, give them an example, give them the receipts, and then clearly state what you are looking for. So it might sound like my strength is bringing dysfunctional teams together by building trust, setting clear expectations, and ruthlessly prioritizing to help the team get there. For example, as we were integrating AI tools and solutions, the team was spinning and worried they were about to lose your job. We all knew this, but no one was talking about it. So in full transparency, I addressed the elephant in the room and I let them know, look, yes, your job will change. But I also helped them see there's no shortage of work and that there was work to do and their work will shift, but there's still a place for them, right? I'm going to give examples of how I built that trust, how I live that mental model, and how this is me at my best. And then I'm going to clearly state what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a company that wants to move fast and is willing to learn through failures so that we can change just as quickly as the work environment today is changing around us, so that we can integrate current technologies and best practices and other tools to reach our goals in faster, new ways. Then I'm going to give a couple examples of what that might look like, okay? Remember, we're trying to show patterns and mental models, not so much on what the exact answer is. Here's another example. A question I got asked all the time when I was interviewing people is like, what does a typical day look like? I'm like, this is a lame question. Okay, if that's your question, write it down. You know what a typical day looks like? A lot of meetings, a lot of online communication, and working. So what's your next question? Maybe it's what's the hardest part? Well, if we had a guess, most likely it's too many meetings, decisions being made by too many people, and we're not moving fast enough. There's not enough time to do the actual work. And we talk more about things that happened in the past than in the future. Okay. So again, that's my assumption. I'm pretty confident those are some things most likely they're struggling with. So instead of asking, what does a typical day look like? I'm going to ask, what's something you've tried to create uninterrupted focus time for your team to be able to do their work? And then I'm going to ask, what else? And then I'm going to ask, what could you try next? Remember, I'm looking for their mental models and patterns. Are they blaming others? Are they saying it is what it is? Are they not even trying anything at all? This is going to tell me so much more than the actual answer they give. We're not putting a ton of weight in the answers. We're looking for patterns and mental models. Okay, and the last and final hack, and this is key, if you are in sales or negotiation, you know the power of silence. Hack number 6, do not be afraid of silence. If they ask you a question, there's a lot of power in saying, great question. Give me a couple seconds to think through my answer and organize my thoughts. And then sit there in silence for a couple seconds and do that. Or if you're asking them a question, be willing to wait in silence. Let them think through it. Or if they give you a very generic answer to a question you've asked, don't be afraid to say, tell me more, and then be quiet. If you're feeling rushed and pressured and like you can't handle the silence, it never creates a healthy relationship. Let's not do it with this opportunity that we are interviewing for. So my 6 hacks, go into this with curiosity, know your taco truck messaging, know specifically what you want, ask better questions, listen for patterns and mental models, not the answers, and don't be afraid of silence. All right, y'all. You got this. You're amazing. If you want some help, this is what we do in my Career Confidence Circle. Come join us. You could try it free. You got this. We'll talk soon.